Hello, and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty RN channel, where I'm passionate about helping victims of all ages and all genders overcome the fear of facing the abuse to become survivors. Over here, we don't believe in doing moments of silence. We believe in doing moments of speaking where we speak out the names of victims and we speak out the names of the abusers. We have been coming together, making a community of people who are supporting victims to become survivors. But because we believe that, I believe that if you are a victim, it's not by your choice, and you can't control or help if someone is choosing to victimize you. However, if you are here, that means that you are in the position to overcome so you can become a survivor and have a testimony to help the people behind you. A lot of times, a lot of times we as people or recovering victims have allowed the pressure of evilness, wickedness to reign and to suppress our voices. But over here, we believe in supporting the truth, standing on the side of truth, and justice is what we are seeking. We have been using the umbrella of Justice for Shanquella Robinson as a platform to come together, to unite, so we can use that leverage to have a voice to get justice for victims of the past and to use that power of the voice to decrease significantly future victims. When we started this journey, as you can see, the title of this here, Shanquella Robinson, and we, the whole world noticed this. The whole world noticed this when this happened over a year ago, and through social media, the whole story has been going through all kind of changes in the hopes of distracting us and deterring us from seeking and holding on to the truth, the facts. So I want to pray. I feel like we have been allowing this whole wicked energy to stop us from lifting our voices, to keep us segregated and separated, so we are not all coming together to show the strength of truth. Truth. And I want to pray. 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 We need to pray. We need to pray for our country. We need to pray for our world. We need to pray for the nation. We can't be ashamed of of praying, of lifting our voices and having faith that if the Lord's eye is on the sparrow, that we should have confidence and faith that he is watching over us too and supporting us. I know that I have today, I just felt moved and a desire to open my mouth again about this and speak the truth and stand on that and not allow the pressure of the wickedness to stop that, because silence is of no help. It's of no help. So I'm just grateful that I'm still here today and that we could say, thank you, Lord, for blessing us. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us together. Thank you, Lord, for showing your power through us by defeating this and by us demanding justice for Shanquella Robinson, for being that voice, and to know that we need to come together. So, because there's strength in numbers, there's strength in numbers, there's strength in numbers. And I'm just grateful that if you stand on the truth will definitely make you free. And I've been looking over and reading some of the stuff from way back, and more bones continue to pop out. Where, like I've said before in prior videos, for those of you who don't know me, I am 52 years old and a proud Gen Xer. And the reason why I usually say that is because it makes a difference, because we Gen Xers were here before the internet and before social media has been out there grooming us and molding us and hurting us into believing in certain things, into forgetting about facts, and just accepting and believing what the people have been telling us. So I want to encourage us to keep up with history, and keep on standing on the word of God and the promises that's in the word for us to get justice. So thank y'all so much for coming out. Y'all know that over here we don't do delusional thinking. We stick to math and science. We stick to facts. We're not here to speculate, but we're here to stand on the truth, because this is how we're going to demand justice. This is how we're going to demand justice. We understand that we have to pray. We got to pray, y'all. We got to pray. We got to pray. So I want to, all right, we're going to pray. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer, because even Christ instructed us to say the Lord's Prayer when we are in need, because those words encompass everything that is needed. So, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive those who debt against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank y'all so much. All right, we got some more people out there that is standing in agreement with the prayers here. So I know a lot of people have been following this story for forever. Look here, people started dropping off when we started praying and stuff. This is why we have to use our faith. We have to use our faith. We have to use our faith. Because right before our very eyes, we saw how Satan, the wicked, snatched it away, drowned it out of us to where people have just, accepted this and moved on. And I know that I too was somebody who was like, oh, okay, got afraid to speak up, didn't want to call the Lord, didn't want to say we got to pray, didn't want to stand on the word. This is why it's here. And this is why it's so important to read. So important to read. And two, there's strength in the prayers, and there's deliverance. And like I said, not I, but the word. We're praying for deliverance from temptation and for guidance. And we want to thank the Lord too for giving us another day, because you didn't have to be here today. There was people who did not wake up this morning. And that's why it's super important that we continue to fight for those who don't have a voice anymore. So what I wanted to do, like I said, today when I was looking over some stuff, it was like, boom, some obvious things kind of popped up in there. Thank y'all so much for everybody who's saying amen. And I appreciate y'all so much too. Again, I'm 52 years old, proud Gen Xer, proud mother of 3 adult children, 2 XY chromosomes, and 1 XX. Right? And these are also, this is also the word of God, the creation of man and woman. And all of us who are allowing the wicked to continue to progress and to silence the word of the Most High, we're praying for strength of the voices of the people who are on the side of God, which is the truth, right? So the truth is the truth. And so I do thank God for the blessings and the covering of our chat here, and of the people who are seeking justice, because we know that if we hold our peace, if we hold our peace and let the Lord fight a battle, victory shall be mine. Anyway, I'm just excited to be somebody who is voicing that too, because I know that, in the recent past, I too was, quiet about, not wanting to mention God because of fear of offending somebody, right? And these things are also prophesied in the word of God, that these are the end times. So that's why it's super important that we follow this. We follow this because these are the answers. These are the answers here. Along the way, they have discouraged us from speaking about this case, from speaking about the facts. Along the way, people have been speaking out in favor of the offenders on the video, who we have seen with our own eyes taking the life of a human being. people are supporting and standing up for the wickedness. And that's why it's super important that people who have righteous intentions are standing together, standing together, standing together. So when this thing first happened, before the lies and the cover up, thank y'all so much for everybody saying amen. Thank you so much. When this thing first happened, before the lies and the cover ups started to come out, that's why I always say that the truth doesn't need explaining. The truth is the truth. It just is. And if you take your feelings out of it, it's not about how you feel. Facts and feelings are separate. They're totally two different things. And we have to be open enough and humble enough to be able to appreciate the truth and accept the truth, right? Regardless of our feelings and stuff. Thank you, Lord, for blessing me with the strength to speak out on this and give the glory, give the glory in advance, right? That's what they try to teach us, is to pray in advance for this whole thing. So tonight we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, and we're gonna watch. We're gonna listen. We're gonna read, and we're going to continue to promote the truth and not get caught up in propaganda, not get caught up in gossip, not get caught up in stories. We're sticking with the facts of the things that we do know. And we're going to stand by that, because the reason why the stories are put out there is to get you distracted on the actual truth. That's why it's done. That's why it's done, y'all. That's why it's important to stick to these facts. So I want to start off with a quick something. I've explained to y'all who I am. Oh, let me tell you also too that I have over 30 years of nursing experience, and one of the reasons why it originally got involved with talking about Shanquella's case is because of my experience working with spinal cord injured individuals, and just my experience in nursing and working with injured people, working with sick people, working with bodies and things like that. So I was sharing that, and just to show y'all how when the wicked is attempting to defeat the truth, or just with lies, how to be able to measure lies from the truth. The truth doesn't change. The truth is the truth. It just stays where it's at. When people try to tell a lie to change your thoughts, all you have to do is go back to the truth. Go back to the truth, that's the foundation. And there's no way to be able to change that, because the truth just is. The truth doesn't change. It remains the same. It remains the same. So, without further ado, let me just say hello to some of y'all who have been on the side of Shanquella since the beginning of this whole situation here, and continue to show support and not be shaken by the lies and the distractions. What's going on, Karen? And hey, all right. Roberto Dula, 83, says hello all around at your beauty. All right. Hey, Tina, what's going on? Remember Tina name from a long time ago. And this here, Terrence, what's up, Terrence? Says disturbing theory. Were they all men? Should we consider that possibility? Well, I won't say they were all men because in the one video when they were doing the push-ups, right, we saw that Winter is an actual X chromosome because she had an arch in her back, and we saw that the other individual that they are saying is Dejanay did not. We also broke down the anatomy to show that the individual that is shown in the video taking the life of Shanquella, it's clearly an XY chromosome. And that people got offended at that when people who have eyes and have been able to identify males and females, you know, since the, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show a quick little short to show how even AI, right? The people, even if the folks who can't tell because somebody puts on makeup or somebody, you know, is doing something cosmetically, right? That because, like I've said before, if they found skeletal remains in the woods, they can tell by those skeletal remains if they are the remains of an XY chromosome, which is male, or an XX female, because of the pelvic bone and the bone structure. The pelvic bone is the most determining factor because this is what is totally different in men and women. However, there's the facial structure. The rest of the skeleton is different also too, with size and different things like that. But let's do this here so we can show how AI cannot be fooled because it is partial and it's not hold on here. All right. It's partial and it doesn't have a dog in the fight to say one way or the other. It's just going to let me pull this back. Okay, here we go. All right, so this here is a video of someone trying to, you know, get some artificial. Here we go.
I think TikTok AI is transphobic.
Filter keeps misgendering me. Look. No fucking way. No way. Okay, we're gonna try this. Hell no. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's try again.
TikTok, you're getting a community guidelines.
Okay, so what I want y'all to see on this is that you saw how it was registering, you know, it was assessing, it was analyzing the bone structure. You cannot change that. The bone structure of a male is different from the bone structure of a female. That is how the AI is able to scan this individual and still determine that this is a male.
Violation. How does it feel?
One more time.
You guys, I think TikTok AI is transphobic.
Filter keeps misgendering me. Look.
It says AI, he says that it keeps misgendering him. But look, it's taking the analysis of the bone structure. This square chin and this square face cannot be disguised. Just because you got the pouty lips and you've got makeup on, the artificial intelligence cannot be fooled. It's taking measurements. It's measuring the width between the brows here, these eyebrows. It's measuring the width of this forehead, this chin, the cheekbones, etc.
No fucking way. No way. Okay, we're gonna try this.
You can fluff your hair as much as you would like to. However, the skeletal structure remains the same.
Hell no. Oh my
Okay? Now he's upset.
god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's try again.
What if I do like this? Or like this? Does this, okay? You're not fooling anyone.
TikTok, you're getting acute
All right, so
anxiety.
this person is throwing a tantrum because the AI is identifying this way. So, yes, disturbing theory, it's not a theory. These are facts. These are facts. And I've gone over it before in this channel where I've did the still shots to be able to show you the length of the arms, the straight back, okay, to be able to show you the difference. So yes, definitely should consider it. And more people need to be open-minded and stop with all of these thoughts of delusion here. See here. Hey, Anisha says hello, our natural beauty. Saying a prayer for Shanquella Robinson's family. Yes, this situation weighs on me daily. Also, I stand against abuse of all kinds. Thank you. All right, appreciate that. I'm gonna be honest, this really weighs on me too. Her the anniversary of her passing, passed, and to see that here we are a year later, more than a year later, and no justice when we had the visual evidence there, the visual proof, and that people in society are okay with this. They're okay with allowing this to take place and allowing all this stuff to happen. And so yes, thank you for those prayers. And we need to keep voicing those prayers. Tina says the whole world stood still in hopes those monsters would be arrested by now. Exactly. I was looking back at on like I said, when this thing first got started, people were coming from all over the world, saying justice for Shanquella's, because it was so disturbing. It was like a reality check that this came about. So in a way, I'm grateful for social media being able to put all this out there so that people aren't able to get away with this kind of stuff. So I want to again go back to the beginning, because when this first came out in November, made us all aware of it and stuff like that. When the death certificate was accepted and the video was accepted, then all of a sudden they changed it up, and we had the FBI to say, oh, well, there's not enough evidence, right? And then we have been hearing recently that the JOD, the FBI, is not honest. Like there's some corruption in there, which obviously is true, because they were the ones that said that there was no evidence and to disregard a death certificate. And I had showed y'all, I'm going to go ahead and reread it again, the difference between a death certificate and an autopsy. The autopsy is a medical document, and the death certificate is the only official document that lists the person's cause of death. The death certificate is like a birth certificate. A person only has one birth certificate. There's only one birth certificate because you are only born once. The death certificate is a single document, the only official document that registers a person's death. You only die once, right? So, I'm gonna go back to this here video. We're gonna go through the timelines, and we're gonna show the connection between this Department of Justice, the corruption there, and how they, did a little smoke and mirror thing here to get people distracted and not believe. However, most of the people didn't buy it anyway, but they have still been actively trying to stop this, stop us from talking about it, and to stop us from bringing awareness to it, But this was so blatant that most people aren't accepting it. Most people are like, there's no way that we're just going to, oh well, and move on to the next thing, because we're too invested in this, because it really affected people in such a way that this kind of stuff just wasn't going to be able to happen. Let's see here. All right, so our first video, this is going to be pretty short too. But again, I want to show the dates, show the date, show the date of when it happened, and then we're going to dissect it, right? We're going to take our time. We're going back to the original. So let's go over here. Let's share the screen. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Go to the original. Let's see here. All right, so what I want y'all to see here is the date. Okay, this ain't the one I want to show, but anyway, we'll go through it. This is dated November 22nd, 2022. Wow, it's almost a year ago. Tomorrow will make a year from this video. All right, so let's listen to what they're saying here.
What happened to a Charlotte woman in Mexico continues right now to evolve tonight. And Queen City News does a deep dive on what the timeline of what happened and when. Well, Queen City News anchor Morgan Francis broke this story. She's live right here in the studio.
All right, so Queen City News, I believe, is North Carolina. So they have been, would I say, biased, or I don't know. I'll think of a better word.
With us tonight, Morgan, this story has captured the attention of just so many, and as I said, still evolving.
Yeah, Alicia, it really is. As new information comes out, it puts into question other details we've learned in the wake of Shanquella Robinson's death. Tonight, we learned more about the timeline of events and the inconsistencies that need to be cleared up. Family says Shanquella Robinson arrived to their luxurious Ocean View home, Villa Linda 32, on October 28th. The guest list notes there were 7 people on the trip. Robinson called her mom to tell her a chef was cooking them dinner that night.
I said, well, okay, I love you. Have a good night.
And she talked to her the next day. We know at some point Robinson was violently assaulted by another woman inside the villa. Picture comparison with the villa's online photo gallery confirms the fight happened in the master suite.
Wow. So even back then, a year ago, they confirmed where this attack took place.
Multiple people watched the fight, encouraging Quella.
Okay, here you go. Who was that asked about that quiz? Terrence. Look here, Terrence. Look at that. Look at that. Straight back. Look at this also. A male is going to stand with the weight on the back leg because he has a straight pelvis. A female will stand with the weight on the front leg because of this tilted pelvis, right? Pelvis is tilted because the baby is going to be held in there. So you can look at a person's walk and tell if that's a man or a woman by the way they walk. We walk differently. We move differently because of this skeleton.
to fight back.
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
She says no before she's thrown to the ground and punched and kicked in the head and back of the neck. Investigative reporter Gerardo Zuniga.
Wow. Okay, so here go this Gerardo dude that was involved in the beginning, calling him an investigative reporter. Let's see what they're saying.
With Metro Polymix, shared the police report with Queen.
We found out later that this was a fraudulent story that Gerardo was getting information on. And I have another video from a real Mexican journalist that came out before, who's going to throw some, shed some light on some things. So let's finish this up.
Queen City News. It says on October 29th at 2:13 p.m., the group called for a doctor, telling that doctor Robinson drank too much alcohol and they wanted to give her an IV.
Okay, 2:13 p.m. All right, so remember that one letter that they, Sue Ann Robinson had sent, and we read it off, the so-called interrogation or the statements that they had made. And so keep in mind these little timelines here, because we're going to compare notes at a later time.
At 3:15 p.m., the doctor arrived and noted Robinson had a poor verbal response.
Wait a minute. So it took the doctor a whole hour. Let's pull this back a little bit. Wait a minute. I didn't hear. A lot of times, when you first hear this stuff, you really don't listen to all the details in the timeline. This is like, I'm sure they didn't say this took an hour.
It says on October 29th at 2:13 p.m.,
13.
the group called for a doctor, telling that doctor Robinson.
So it took the doctor a whole hour to get there. A whole hour.
Robinson drank too much alcohol and they wanted to give her an IV. At 3:15 p.m., the doctor arrived.
So that's true then. So that's what they saying here, right? A whole hour. I'm sorry, 58 minutes if you want to be precise.
And noted Robinson had a poor verbal response in a drunken state.
A poor verbal response, which again is fake. There's no verbal response with a broken neck. You're not talking because you need air in order to make sound.
With stable vital signs and was dehydrated. Dr. Carolina B.
And if a doctor had this as an assessment, there's no way that they're trying to treat. This is an emergency. A poor verbal response. This is not stable. This is not something where you stay at the house. This is call 911. This is an emergency.
Beatriz Onelias Gutierrez recommended they transfer Robinson to the hospital, but her friends
And why didn't they talk more about this doctor? What happened to this here doctor? Carolina B. Didn't they even give a different name to? Wait a minute. Pull back just a wee bit more here. These names and dates have changed. Names, times, and dates have been very flexible here.
Gutierrez recommended they transfer Robinson to the hospital, but her friends insisted they treat her on site. At 4:20, Robinson had a seizure, and that's when her friend.
Wow. So a whole hour and 5 minutes later, the patient has a seizure. First of all, a doctor is not. What was Dr. What they say, Gutierrez? What was she doing for an entire hour and 5 minutes? What care was being rendered for a whole hour and 5 minutes? What? When have you been at the doctor's office and the doctor spent an hour and 5 minutes doing what? Doing what? Even in the hospital, again, I'm a registered nurse and I actually work in a hospital. I've worked in all different kind of fields, but I've worked many years in the hospital. And when the doctors make rounds, maybe at best, they're in there for 5 minutes. The doctor does not spend over an hour of his or her time with the patient, unless they're doing surgery. So if Dr. Gutierrez arrived on the scene at 3:15, what was the doctor doing for an hour?
Named in the report as Wenter Donovan called 911 to request an ambulance. During that time, Robinson's condition deteriorated. Dr. Gutierrez declared her deceased just before 6 p.m.
The doctor would be in a world of trouble if the patient deceased on their watch and they did nothing. They did nothing. If the patient was not stable, the doctor would have called 911 to get the patient to a hospital where they can receive the appropriate care. So if this was true, there would be lawsuits out towards a doctor who did not treat a patient or who sat with a patient, sat on a patient for over an hour and did nothing, but pronounced them deceased. They pronounced them deceased for over an hour. What did they do for over an hour?
The doctor was with Robinson for nearly 3 hours, a large discrepancy with her death.
Wow. Nearly 3 hours. Wow. That changes things even more. Because if you are making a house call, do you even have supplies to render care for more than an hour? Do you have the supplies to render care? What were you doing for those hours? Watching? What treatment was rendered for nearly 3 hours?
Certificate, which says she died 15 minutes after her injury. Another inconsistency, her time of death, which is noted as 1 to request an ambulance. During that time, Robinson's condition deteriorated. Dr. Gutierrez declared her deceased just before 6 p.m.
So how long did it take if the doctor called the ambulance at 4? What happened? Did it take them 2 hours to get there? It says here that at 4:20, the doctor called for the ambulance, but didn't declare the death time until 6 p.m. Where was the ambulance? Where was the emergency medical response? Did it take them an hour and 40 minutes to get there? Was the villa in a secluded place where it took help over an hour to get there? These times do not add up. Right? Y'all see that? 4:20.
Request an ambulance. During that time, Robinson's condition deteriorated. Dr. Gutierrez declared her deceased just before 6 p.m.
Wow. Just before 6 p.m. So that's more than an hour and a half. What was being done?
Doctor was with Robinson for nearly 3 hours, a large discrepancy with her death certificate.
The doctor should be sued for negligence if she spent more than 3 hours alone with the patient. It's nowhere in anyone's medical training to spend 3 hours with a patient alone. Even the nurse does not spend 3 hours with the patient. 3 hours is a long time. It does not take that long to render care. Even now, I've worked in critical care, I've worked in trauma, I've worked with critically ill, traumatically ill patients on ventilators, on life support. I've worked in a multiple code situations where we are rendering CPR. There's never been a time that CPR extended for 3 hours. It's physically impossible, and no doctor would continue to do CPR for 3 hours. These are lies. These are lies. These are lies told by someone who is not in the medical field, because a medically trained person will know that that is a dry bologna sandwich.
Which says she died 15 minutes after her injury. Another inconsistency, her time of death, which is noted as 3 p.m. on her death certificate and 6 p.m. in the police report. Police.
All right, so a death certificate versus a police report. When have the police been able to declare a cause of death? When has that ever been in the police scope of practice to report a cause of death?
Who were called to the villa at 5 p.m. arrived at 5:25. They tell Queen City News friends also told officers Robinson had alcohol poisoning, something they say they knew was false when her autopsy came back.
So, where's the doctor at in all this? How are they telling the police? And why are the police there on a medical call? Why are the police there? Let's go back a little bit more. Let's go back. Listen. All right. Look how they're trying to show the IV back up here. Okay. So why would the doctor have IV products come into a house call? Why? This is why. This is emergency situation here. This is not part of your doctor kit. This ain't part of it. All right. So, and two, this would not last for 3 hours. This is 500 milliliters. This is a half a liter. This would be infused in a few minutes. This would, this would, this would not take 3 hours to infuse, especially if the person is supposedly dehydrated. This would be ordered as a bolus. A bolus is a quick, rapid infusion, and is usually 1,000, right? This is a little bitty tiny bag. I'm sure this is just props, but anyway, I'm sure the doctor is not walking around with IV fluids in their bag. All right, let's go back here and listen to these lies.
During that time, Robinson's condition deteriorated. Dr. Gutierrez declared her deceased just before 6 p.m.
Right. So what the hell was Dr. Gutierrez doing if she arrived at 3? What?
The The doctor was with Robinson for nearly 3 hours, a large discrepancy with her death certificate, which says she died 15 minutes after her injury. Another inconsistency, her time of death, which is noted as 3 p.m. on her death certificate and 6 p.m. in the police report. Police who were called to the villa at 5 p.m. arrived.
All right, so if the police were called at 5 p.m., that's before Shanquella passed, according to the doctor. If the doctor didn't pronounce until 6, and the police, why were the police called? Why would the police be called for a medical event? Right? These are questions, y'all. This is legitimate stuff. Like, why would the police be called? This is how you know these are lies. The police, why would they be called for somebody who's dehydrated? The police ain't got nothing to do with this. Why would they be called for this?
At 5:25, they tell Queen City News. Friends also told officers Robinson had all.
And when have anybody called the police, and the police just hung around for 30 minutes? For nothing. What were the police doing there for 30 minutes? Why was the police called? Who called the police?
Alcohol poisoning, something they say they knew was false when her autopsy came back. On November 9th, Robinson's mother, frustrated and seeking the truth.
November 9th. November 9th. This before the story came out, right? Before the news and stuff came out, like around November 16th or 17th. November 9th. Let's pull this back a little bit more, all right?
On November 9th, Robinson's mother, frustrated and seeking the truth.
Why was her mother frustrated on November 9th and seeking the truth?
Speaks to Queen City News, telling us she doesn't believe the story her daughter died of alcohol poisoning, something her so-called friends were also telling the family. On November 10th, Robinson's body arrived back home to family along with her death certificate, which listed her cause of death, a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the top vertebrae in the neck. It indicated to family she had been beaten. On November 16th, only after news agencies pressed Mexican authorities on the suspicious death did they share a press release stating they were investigating the death of a woman at Fundadores Beach Club.
Wow.
2 days later, November 18th, the FBI announced it had launched an investigation into Robinson's death.
Okay. Wow. So if the FBI didn't launch the investigation until the 18th, look at here. All right. So here moms is frustrated because she don't believe what's going on. Shanquella's body is not back yet. The death certificate, the only official document, has not been received yet.
Something her so-called friends were also telling the family. On November 10th, Robinson's body arrived back home to family along with her death certificate, which listed her cause of death, a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the top vertebrae in the neck. It indicated to family she had been beaten. On November 16th, only after news agencies pressed Mexican authorities.
Only after news agencies press Mexican authorities, right? So from October the 29th up until November 16th, Mexico wasn't saying nothing. Mexico didn't say nothing. Later on, I'm going to pull up the document where Mexico lies and said that on October 30th, they had did an autopsy and had questioned some individuals in this case, right? When they didn't say or do anything until only after. Let's pull back a little bit more.
Right in the neck. It indicated to family she had been beaten. On November 16th, only after news agencies pressed Mexican authorities on the suspicious death did they share a press release stating they were investigating the death of a woman at Fundador.
They shared a press release on November the 16th. Death of a foreigner. All right.
Beach Club. 2 days later, November 18th, the FBI announced it had launched an investigation into Robinson's death, nearly 3 weeks after she died.
So why did the FBI launch this investigation? Could it possibly be because the video was out, going viral, and now Mexico was saying that they was doing something, so it seemed only rightful for them to say that they were doing something?
Now, in that police report, the doctor lists her cause of death as...
When has a doctor ever given their assessment to the police for the police to report? These people are saying this stuff and not even realizing how ridiculous this sounds. This just went over so many of our heads. The police report
had launched an investigation into Robinson's death, nearly 3 weeks after she died. Now, in that police report, the doctor lists her cause of...
In the police report, the doctor listed. The doctor's report has nothing to do with a police report.
Death as cardiac arrest, not a severe spine injury. One thing that's remained consistent is that aside from statements made from friends, there's no mention of alcohol in Robinson's body or as a cause of death. Brian.
Well, the story of what happened.
That was it. But in that little short time, and again, that came out November the 22nd of 22. This timeline thing here, right? And then after we tore apart the story of the doctor, we didn't hear any more about the doctor. Because if that's not negligence, that's negligence. You just watched the person. In 3 hours, she could have been hooked up on a ventilator. She could have been in the hospital receiving care. Because we have brought, bodies back and stuff like that. We had the people on these ventilators, once you get them hooked up on there, we can pump you full of drugs. The doctor would not have had, so for the doctor to sit there and watch somebody for 3 hours who's deteriorating is fake. No doctor would do that because, first of all, the doctors aren't the ones rendering care. So they want to get this person to a hospital where, doctors who are trained in emergencies, because just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you are an emergency room physician. Doesn't mean that you're a surgeon. There's specialties. A regular doctor is not going to want to be responsible for CPR because they don't do it. Not like they do CPR all of the time. Just like in the hospital, and like I said, I've worked in multiple different settings. I've worked in the hospital as a critical care nurse where if someone is having a problem in the hospital, The nurses on the floor is going to start the CPR. However, they are calling the code, and then there's going to be a team of nurses who are trained in doing CPR and giving the medications for CPR to come respond, because the nurses on the regular floors, that's not what they do all the time. Not saying that they don't know how to do CPR, but it's not something they do all the time. Just like I never worked in the burn unit, so I don't feel comfortable working with the burn patients because that's not my specialty. No doctor is going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out here with a patient for 3 hours with no nurse to support, right? Because doctors don't work alone. They need to direct people to do things for them. You do this, you do that, and they are monitoring stuff. There's no monitor, so doctor has no way of knowing what's going on. There's never a time that a doctor is going to spend 3 hours, over 3 hours with a patient outside of a medical setting. That's a lie. Those are lies. All right, those are lies. So let me see here. I have we're going back to the beginning. Okay, here's the one I was telling you about earlier. This here. All right. All right. So we saw this one here. They was talking about this Geraldo Zwinga dude. All right. So this here is a video from, let's see here. All right. So let's see here. This is dated November the 18th. Okay. So this is November the 18th. It says FBI investigating mysterious death in Mexico. Cabo journalist weighs in. A Cabo journalist weighs in. All right, let's hear what this Cabo journalist is weighing in as of November the 18th.
Tonight that has gripped the nation and beyond. The family searches for answers after a Charlotte woman dies while on vacation in Mexico with friends. Tonight, Queen City News has confirmed the FBI Charlotte field office has opened an investigation.
Wow. All right. So this is already, now that we thinking back on it, Charlotte must have something against this justice and getting justice for Shanquella, because they had this information back then, November 18th of 2022.
And into the case, Queen City News anchor Morgan Francis broke this tragic story and has the latest on the investigation tonight.
Well, Brian, we now know 2 agencies are investigating Shanquella Robinson's death nearly 3 weeks after she passed. As her family prepares to lay her to rest tomorrow, they're grateful the national coverage of her mysterious death in Mexico has now given them hope they'll get the answers they so desperately seek. It's the latest in a story that's been unraveling from the start. The FBI Charlotte field office confirms with Queen City News it's opened an investigation into Shanquella Robinson's death in Cabo San Lucas. The announcement comes just over a week after we made multiple inquiries into this.
Wow. So this is a week, and she said that the news people made multiple inquiries. So that means that they just was brushing it under the carpet. But because it was blowing up on social media, it was like, oh, okay, we'll say this kind of stuff, right? We say something.
The suspicious circumstances surrounding her death.
They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning.
Right, so that's November 9th. Right, this goes back to substantiate the story, first video that we just saw, where they said Mama was saying, hey, on November 9th, this here, some baloney stuff.
They couldn't get a pulse.
Some on the trip told Robinson's family and police in Mexico that she had alcohol poisoning. Police learned that was a lie.
So why does the police know anything about this alcohol poison? It's not even in their scope. This is the clue here, y'all. The police have nothing to do with anybody's cause of death or any type of medical issues. Why were the police involved?
When the autopsy came back saying she died from a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the top vertebrae. Then video from inside the villa came out on Wednesday. showing someone violently assault Robinson, who was naked and audibly refuses to fight back.
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
I work in Los Cabos.
All right. He said he works in Los Cabos. Let's see what this man got to say.
I'm a journalist right here.
He's a journalist, right? How come we ain't hear no more from him, right? All of a sudden, Geraldo shows up.
have a television and radio program.
Journalist Herman Medrano, who lives and works in Cabo, says word of the suspicious death took a while to reach the news.
Certainly, the thing to have in a hotel a body is a huge thing.
He said a body in the hotel is a huge thing.
So where is the investigation about it?
He wants to know where the investigation about it at. He over there in Cabo, Mexico. He say a body in a hotel is a big thing. Where is the investigation? Where was the investigation?
He says people didn't tell them about the death until this week, when the video went viral and they started asking questions.
We have to ask them for the case. We ask, and the day we ask, that day make the report police.
Medrano says police released.
He said the day that they asked, that's the day that they made the report. So then how, months later, in March, do we receive this fake story from the police about their investigation? This is fake.
This report on Wednesday confirming their investigation.
Wow. November 16th. Let's pull this back again. Listen to this guy. Let's go back here. It's really, I don't think I ever even remember seeing this back in November when this first came out. All right, let's go here.
Video from inside the villa came out on Wednesday, showing someone violently assault Robinson, who was naked and audibly refuses to fight back.
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
I work in Los Cabos. I'm a journalist right here. I have a television and radio program.
Journalist Herman Medrano, who lives and works in Cabo, says word of the suspicious death took a while to reach the news.
Certainly, the thing to have in a hotel a body is a huge thing. So where is the investigation about it?
He says people didn't tell them about the death until this week, when the video went viral and they started asking questions.
We have to ask them for the case.
He said we had to ask them for the case. He want to know why he didn't know about it. He's a journalist there in Cabo, Mexico. A body in a hotel is a huge thing. Why did they not say anything? Was it because it was an American and they were doing some under the cover stuff?
Ask, and the day we ask, that day make the report police.
Medrano.
The day we asked, that day they made the report to the police.
Says police released this report on Wednesday, confirming their investigation into the death of a foreigner.
Wow.
And later stating they haven't ruled anything out. The death has been a shock to the community that relies so heavily on tourism, but an even more heartbreaking reality for a family who initially felt that no one was taking them seriously.
I probably won't be at ease until someone's arrested.
So the FBI and Mexican police are investigating this case. We don't know if the FBI is taking over the investigation or not, but clearly getting answers in Mexico seems to be as difficult as getting answers 2,500 miles away.
Wow.
We begin with a story tonight that has gripped the nation and beyond. Families.
All right. Okay, so we can see then that back the FBI in Mexico was forced to report on this because it had been leaked out to the people. And the people was inquiring about this situation. Inquiring about this situation. All right, here's another quickie short here. Let's see what the. All right, where's my thing? You want that? I just had it. Let's see, who is that? No, that ain't you. No. I sound like I transgender. No. Why are you calling me? Okay, here we go. What is this? All right, so here's something else. We're just gonna random. Uh-oh. Stop. Go back. All right, so this here is another story. So a lot of the times, most of the time, oftentimes you can believe the first story because the original story, the initial story, is just the truth, right? It's before they had time to think about different stories to tell, right? So this here is November the 25th. Let's see if the story has changed in any way since what we heard that came out on the 17th.
We start with the latest in the death investigation of a Charlotte woman in Mexico. The state attorney general's office of Baja California Sur has filed charges in the killing of Shanquella Robinson. The agency also says the extradition process is now starting. Robinson died while on vacation with a group of friends in Cabo last month. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre spoke to an attorney about these charges.
The charge is for a femicide, which is the killing of a woman. Now, in the U.S., that would be equivalent to a homicide, and it could mean anywhere from 40 to 60 years behind bars. The attorney I spoke to says more charges could be filed in Mexico, but also here in the U.S.
More charges can be filed in Mexico, but also here in the U.S. So back in November, multiple news stories were coming out saying that the U.S. can do something, that the U.S. could file charges, the U.S. could prosecute, the U.S. could do something. Then we fast forward 5 months later, and they say there's nothing that they could do.
Any role that anybody played, they are likely to have to deal with some level of prosecution in Mexico as it relates to this, or potentially in the States, again, if any of those crimes happen on American soil.
Shanquella Robinson died after suffering a broken neck and severe spinal cord injury in.
So, back in November, when the story first came out, this death certificate stood. It stood with the cause of death being severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. So, why would they expect us to believe 5 months later that there is no evidence of this cause of death that is listed here? On the official document.
Cabo last month, according to her death certificate. Attorney James Exum says, despite various accounts of her death, that is the most reliable.
The attorney states that the death certificate is the most reliable.
With the medical side, and I do homicides, that's what you can rely on more than anything else, because that's just science.
Okay, did y'all hear that? The medical is just science.
The state attorney general's office of Baja California Sur opened the femicide case against the person allegedly responsible for killing Robinson.
Uh-oh. Let's see here. All right. Look there. This is in Spanish, right? Look at there. In Spanish. On November the 24th, they opened their investigation for the femicide. November 24th, that's right there. 24th day, November del 2022, right? All this here is in Spanish. Victim, group of 6 amigos. All right, look at there.
Killing Robinson. The agency filed an arrest warrant and extradition procedures to be carried out.
That type of offense that the person faces between 40 years minimum, 60 years maximum.
The investigation remains open as the agency works to identify anyone else involved in her death. Exum says more people could be prosecuted.
The fact that they left Mexico under the guise that she died from alcohol poisoning, and it's clear that it's not that, then once you left Mexico and come here, that could be an issue because, you know, you can do it by commission or omission.
He adds any false statements made could be seen as obstruction of justice. The FBI Charlotte field office also opened its own investigation.
So if there's evidence that there was some plan before they got to Mexico, yeah, that would be a problem. Once you're
All right. So he said if there's evidence that this was planned before they got to Mexico, it's a problem. Right? So when we watch the videos, we could
back on U.S. soil, to the extent that there's an investigation here and you lie about it, you conceal things, you try to run, those could all be things that create charges against you here.
I reached out to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security on extradition efforts and have not heard back yet.
Wow.
In South
So they've just been avoiding people, avoiding the American public, right? This is back in, like I said, November when all this stuff was taking place. So my question is, why and how did things change? Like, did they forget that this information was out there? Right? And that's part of the reason why I believe they try to postpone and prolong things so people would just go on about life, you know, just go on about your merry little business here. All right, so here's another, this one's really quick. Let's see, this here is dated, okay, November 18th. I really like the fresh ones that came out right after the whole thing went down. All right, so this here is FBI Charlotte's field office launches investigation into Shanquella Robinson's death. Now, this was November the 18th, right? So if they just launched their investigation on the 18th, how did they come out with autopsy results in April? Why did they wait 5 months to, you know, submit these results, right?
Breaking right now, we are following some developing news. FBI Charlotte just announcing they've opened an investigation into the death of Shanquella Robinson. She's the Charlotte woman who mysteriously died while vacationing in Mexico. Right now, authorities trying to figure out how the 25-year-old died. Reports say Robinson went with friends to Mexico and died 24 hours later. Initially, friends said she died of alcohol poisoning, but new graphic videos that we've decided not to air shows a friend attacking her. Robinson's funeral is set for tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow would have been the 19th of November. All right. And why haven't we heard any more information on this doctor who sat around watching Shanquella for more than 3 hours and did nothing? Because that's a lie. No doctor did that. That's why. Because if a doctor did, they would have been quick to throw that doctor under the bus. These are lies. These are made up individuals. There's no way that a doctor sat around for 3 hours. No way. All right, so let me see here. All right, so here's one. Let me see what y'all talking about over here. Then I'll go back and take some, let's see what y'all saying over here. All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time over here, but saying hello to all the people that's showing up here. Thank y'all so much. Oh, yes, here we go. Anisha Blackwood said, in the name of Jesus, I bind all inhumane behavior in society and loose love in the atmosphere. Yes, I stand in agreement with you on that. We got more people standing in agreement with you on that. We got some amens. Yes, thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you, thank you. Where two or more are gathered, so is the Most High. All right, we got some amens too. Yes, amens and glory to the Lord. Yes, yes, yes. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. All right, so let's get some more videos going here with all right, here's one. Make sure this. All right, this is from Viral Crimes. All right, and let me share this with y'all. All right, that's why we ain't going over no speculation or some new crap that people talking about. This is when it was fresh. Like nobody knew that they had to come up with these excuses and stuff. This is the raw footage. All right, so this here was November 20th, 2022. So, all right, from Viral Crimes.
Says her friends told them she had alcohol poisoning, but the death certificate I received today says nothing.
All right, so this news person saying the death certificate she received today, right? So the death certificate is, I can't think of the word I want to say. Information that could be, it's public information is what I was trying to say. It's public information.
About alcohol.
No one told the same story, so I never believed them anyway.
It's like a nightmare, man. It's you know, I can't even sleep.
Mama said no one told the same story. And that's another clue how you can tell when people lying, because the truth never changes, but lies do, right? And especially from different people, because different people are going to have different thoughts. So they're going to tell different stories because nobody is in the other person's head. So you don't know what they're thinking.
Sleep. I'm just frustrated. My heart is just aching, man. And, you know, as a father, man, you know.
On October 28, 2022, Shanquella Robinson left her home in Charlotte, North Carolina, to vacation with Khalil Cook, her best friend of more than 5 years, along with 5 other friends. This was supposed to be a fun trip to celebrate the birthday of one of her friends. Sadly, within the first 24 hours of arriving in Cabo, Shanquella would be dead. The friends would return home back to the United States without her, and would all provide different stories about what happened to her. But as more information is released about what happened to her.
All right, look at there. Secretary of Health death certificate. This is the only official document. That's why they waited 4 and 5 months after the fact to expose you to these fake autopsy reports that contradict the death certificate. That's just like somebody trying to say that you were born on a different date than your birth certificate states, right? Think y'all.
Her in the moments leading up to her death. Shocking video of her final moments would surface online and would spark nationwide outrage, with many pointing the finger and wanting justice for Shanquella.
Yes.
Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. This case takes us to Cabo, Mexico, Beautiful 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson was from Charlotte, North Carolina in the United States. She was full of life and loved to enjoy herself. She was a young entrepreneur who often traveled to reward herself for working hard. She was a well-known kids' hair braider with her own braiding business, Exquisite Babies Braids and Styles. She would often post videos and photos of her satisfied customers wearing her different styles and creations. She was also an owner of her own clothing boutique called the Exquisite Boutique. She would work hard conducting photo shoots to promote her clothing business. She was talented and ambitious and well on her way to building her own brand. On October 28, 2022, Shanquella headed to Cabo, Mexico to celebrate a friend's birthday. She took this trip with 6 of her friends, and they rented out a villa as part.
All right. Look at these friends. Look at those friends. Look at those friends.
Part of the birthday festivities. Shanquella spoke to her mother, Salamondra Robinson, the Friday when she arrived in Cabo and told her that she was having dinner. Sadly, this would be the last time her mother would ever speak to her again. On Saturday evening, Shanquella's friends called her mother Salamondra and told her that Shanquella wasn't feeling well and they were going to call a doctor. They told her that Shanquella drank too much alcohol and had alcohol poisoning. She would later pass away. Following her death, her friend of 5 years, Khalil, would call her parents, her mother Salamondra and her father Bernard, and inform them that she died of alcohol poisoning. The parents were skeptical about what they were being told, and the friends were providing different stories about what happened. The friends returned back to their homes in North Carolina without Shanquella, whose body was finally recovered by her family nearly 2 weeks later after she died on October 29. The friends stuck with their story that Shanquella died from alcohol poisoning. Shanquella's family notified the FBI about their daughter's unexplained death. They found out that her daughter sustained a
So if Shanquella's family found out about this on November 10th, why did it take the FBI 8 days before they opened an investigation on November 18th?
broken neck, and her spine in the back was cracked. According to the autopsy report, she had no alcohol or drugs in her system.
And this is not an autopsy report. This is a death certificate. Death certificate and autopsies are 2 different things. After this video, I'm going to read the difference between the death certificate and autopsy report.
As the news of her death began circulating on the internet, a video surfaced online and went viral. The video showed Shanquella being viciously beaten by one of her friends before she died. On camera, a lady can be seen beating up a nude Shanquella Robinson. The victim's friend stayed in the room and videotaped the vicious assault on their phones. After Robinson fell to the ground, the woman pounded her fists on Robinson's head. In the footage, a guy can be heard encouraging the attacker while another man is heard saying, "At least fight back." To which Shanquella responded, "No." The identities of the 6 friends who accompanied Shanquella on the trip have surfaced online after the video went viral. Khalil Cook, Shanquella's best friend for 5 years,
Wow.
Winter Donovan, Elise
Oh, did y'all see that arch in her back?
The video went viral. Khalil Cook, Shanquella's best friend for 5 years, Winter Donovan.
All right, look at there. This is a female. See where the hand placement is at? Right in the small of the back. There's an arch right there. See that arch? This is a real woman.
Elise Hyatt, Dejanay Jackson,
Uh-oh. I'm about to show that square chin.
Malik Dyer, and Nazir Wiggins' innocence has been questioned by numerous people online. The 6 were said to have deleted their social media accounts and have turned off their phones. Social media posts called for the friends to be arrested and charged for their alleged roles in Shanquella's death. People have reported that the girl in the video assaulting Shanquella is Dejanay Jackson, although the official.
This is what we need to do. Put this face through the AI. So everybody got doubts. Put it through the AI. So we can, let me just real quick. All right. Pause that right there. All right. Here you go. Do this real quick. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. All right. We should take that photo and stick it through this
TikTok
here AI.
is transphobic.
Filter keeps misgendering me. Look. No. No fucking way. No.
AI is gonna tell us right then and there, so y'all won't think it's just me. AI is doing measurements, math and science, baby.
Way. Okay, we're gonna try this. Hell no. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's try again.
Now, AI is assessing the measurements. That's how it can tell. You're not fooling anybody. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the story here. That's what I'm saying. We can shut everybody up. We just take this photo and put it through one of these AI, and it'll let you know right then and there who is who and what's what. All right. So let's get back to the story here. Don't make me look it up. I'll find it and throw this picture up in there. But, you know, look here. Y'all see this square chin, this white bra, this nose. Man.
Official identification has not been made by authorities. Recent report suggests that all three of the females on the trip actually fought Shanquella, and that there is even more footage of the fight that has yet to be released. The reports
There's more footage of the fight that has yet to be released. There's several people who have stated that they saw more of the video where Winter was putting hands on Shanquella after she was slung to the floor and pounded several times by the person that they said is Dejanay Jackson. I saw the video too, and it was been removed.
allege that Elise Hyde is the girl who leaked the video. It is claimed that a reason for leaking the video is because the blame was being placed on everyone, and she wanted to show that Dejanay Jackson, the girl that was shown assaulting Shanquella in the video, was the one fighting her. But sources reveal that Elise Hyde also fought with Shanquella, and those videos would be dropping soon. One of the friends that was being blamed for Shanquella's death, along with the rest of the group, Nazir Tyree, went live on social media to explain that he arrived late to the trip and was unaware that
And we saw it break down his lies up in there. He's all fidgeting and not looking at the camera. His whole story, it's full of bones. Full of bones.
the fight even occurred.
I went in there and told her it was alcohol poisoning, so that's what I helped her as. I didn't leave her side. I cut on soft music, Summer Walker rubbing her head till the nurse came in.
Liars usually give lots of details to distract you. And why is he saying a nurse when they said later doctor? The difference.
Of course, my story is going to be different because I got there a day late. I can only tell you what I know from 3:30 till Sunday when I left. That's all I can do. I really can't give nobody no other answer from Friday because they didn't tell me. I didn't go in there, sit down and make no alibi with nobody. I didn't know nothing. They didn't tell me nothing. Cross my heart and hope to die.
Stick a needle in my eye. People, why they think that just because you say that, you know, that makes it true, huh? You big liar.
I go right here. I don't know nothing. I didn't sit and make no alibi. I didn't even have time. I got there an hour later. The nurse came in the door. Tried to help pull it, tried to put some salines in her, but her energy, she didn't have no electrolytes. Her oxygen.
How would they know if she did not have electrolytes? Did they draw blood there and take labs? Did they get a urine specimen? How? We can assume that a person is dehydrated but we can't treat them until we rule it out with labs. Labs have to be taken before you can come up with a plan of care, to come up with the treatment. How did they know that Shanquella was dehydrated and lacking electrolytes? Please, someone explain that to me. A nurse of 30 years. How?
Oxygen was low, so she couldn't find me. Y'all don't understand what I went through. Y'all don't understand. Y'all won't understand.
We showed
so
it.
Y'all keep posting my address and all that. Y'all have fun. Y'all have fun. Y'all know y'all hurt me. Y'all said y'all not hurt me. I'm not bothered by this. Because I know the truth. Me and God know the truth.
Shanquella's dad was interviewed and gave his opinion about what Nazir posted in his lengthy video.
Did you watch any of Nazir's videos?
Yeah, I watched a little bit how he's saying this and that, saying that. Really? Really?
And the problem that I have is I don't.
You came there and you saw her. You should have got help. If you was her friend, you ain't seen her in 9 years, and you came in that house. Ain't no way you gonna sit here and you saw the bruises. You saw the bruises. You came in the house. You want to sit there and say you played music and rub her head and then she took a last breath. You left. You saw the music. I mean, come on, man, really?
Yeah.
You should have came in that house. Hey, y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all staying down here. Y'all staying down here. Y'all not going back. Y'all not back going to the United States.
Exactly. He should
I
have
didn't came in here and saw these bruises. Y'all didn't hurt this girl. No.
News of the suspicious death and lack of arrests was shared widely on social media, leading to the hashtag Justice for Shanquella on Twitter, which raised the profile of the case.
Bernard Robinson is begging for answers about how his daughter, Shanquella, died last month in Cabo.
I just want some truth, because this don't even add up right.
He says he and his wife were told Shanquella died of alcohol poisoning, but the autopsy says she died due to...
Now they keep switching the words up like that, and this is probably on purpose to keep people confused. This is not an autopsy. This is a death certificate. It states it right up there. Death certificate.
Injuries to the spinal cord and neck. A video has now also surfaced showing someone attacking Shanquella.
And showing Shanquella receiving the injuries listed on the death certificate. We can match up the injuries from the death certificate to the video.
Through the grace of God, I think I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, sir. God not gonna fail. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out.
Many people weighed in on the tragic death of Shanquella online, with many, including some celebrities, voicing their outrage at this senseless tragedy. K. Michelle posted, "For them to beat that girl like that and tell her to fight is just disgusting. Just broke my heart. This is why I put the phone down for days at a time. Tears." Hashtag Shanquella Robinson. Spectacular, formerly from the group Pretty Ricky, posted, "Grown as men sitting there watching women fight and recording it. Talking about at least fight back. You should be ashamed of yourself. Every last one of you that was in that room. All friends ain't your friends." Hashtag Shanquella Robinson. The sensual psychic posted, "Shanquella was murdered by Dejanay Jackson and their friends just watched. How can anyone just watch their friend who is naked and drunk be beat so badly she's killed? She even said she couldn't fight back." Hashtag Justice for Shanquella Robinson. Justice for Shanquella. Police in Mexico have said that they have no suspicion of wrongdoing, although her injuries are consistent with lethal force. The FBI is now investigating her death, and reports of her untimely death are still being released.
Mexican authorities say a group on vacation in Cabo San Lucas lied about what happened to 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson.
Queen City News.
When have the police or the authorities taken the word of witnesses on something like this? Are the police that stupid where they can look at a person with obvious injuries and take the word of the individuals there? with no investigation, no nothing. All right, more lies. And then why? Okay, so what was the date on this again? This here was November the 20th. Okay, so where's the talk about the doctor, right? They still keep talking about the police. And the police don't have the training nor the authority to determine a cause of death.
First brought you the story about Shanquella Robinson's mysterious death last week. And for the first time tonight, police investigating the case now telling us what they have discovered.
Anchor Morgan Francis has been on this story from the beginning and joins us now live in the studio. Morgan, you spoke with that officer just this afternoon.
Yeah, Brian and Alicia, I did. And we learned that friends not only told the family that Shanquella Robinson had alcohol poisoning, but they also told that to police. Today, authorities told me that statement was a lie. Tonight, we also spoke with an international attorney who has experience with criminal investigations in other countries about how this process might play out. Thursday, Mexican authorities told Queen City News Shanquella Robinson's friends lied to them about what happened to her prior to her untimely death on October 29th. An officer investigating the case says they interviewed two friends at the villa in Cabo who said Shanquella Robinson had alcohol poisoning. The same story her family says they told them.
They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poison. They couldn't get a pulse.
It wasn't until her autopsy came back that Mexican police discovered she had a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the uppermost vertebrae. For that reason, their investigation is still open, and they're looking into her death.
There's a huge financial incentive to keep Cabo open and to keep people feeling safe. So to the extent they can find, prosecute, incarcerate the people that did this, in my opinion, they're going to try to do it.
Kurt Kearns is an international attorney with experience litigating international crimes and investigations. Some of what he has to say might not be the most promising news.
It's a sovereign state. So that's the first misunderstanding a lot of people have, is that, hey, man, if I'm an American and I'm in trouble somewhere, boy, they'll come to my rescue. And the reality is, not unless there's a really big interest internationally in coming to your rescue, because they will not upset international relations with a sovereign nation.
And we know that the current administration is very chummy with Mexico. Could be a reason why they have chose to do nothing about this situation.
To help out.
The police officer investigating the case tells Queen City News if they find evidence that leads to an arrest, they have authority to bring the group back to Mexico and, quote, they will have to answer to Mexican law. While the FBI and U.S. State Department say it's not their jurisdiction, it doesn't mean they can't investigate either.
Upon invitation, FBI can come in and assist. Upon, invitation, the State Department can get more and more involved, but it's only upon invitation, i.e., do they want us there?
The police officers said they are in contact with the FBI and consulate and urge anyone with information to contact the local FBI office, and they will relay that information to Mexican authorities. Brian.
Shanquella was in a room full of individuals who were supposed to be her friends, and nobody volunteered to help her. Nobody put a stop to this brutal beating. Nobody cared enough to provide any protection for her. This lovely young lady, who was not putting up a fight, received no assistance from anybody, and when she is naked and at her most vulnerable state, they instead pulled out their cell phones to videotape this assault. What happened to Shanquella Robinson is beyond comprehension. The video of her being assaulted should not be the last video her parents and loved ones should have of her. There are no words to express how senseless and tragic her death was. My condolences to her family and those who truly cared about her and loved her. May you get justice and continue to heal.
All right, we got that. Terrence says the one who did the damage is definitely XY. Easy to see and a trained fighter. I agree with you because it looked like techniques, and that's why I was able to do it so quickly, because each move was strategic and landed right on the mark. So I agree. it was, you can see, I got a video with John Q where we break down the actual movement, and we can show the moment where the technique was done to break the neck, to snap the neck. It was a technique. It was no accident. This was strategic, and the person, movements were precise, and the job was done. I agree with you, Terrence. Sandra AG says, hi, RN and everyone. I agree. It was a male. Oh, as a young child with two brothers, we watched boxing and wrestling every Saturday. And when I saw the assault, it appeared to me to be a man beating her. I agree. That's great. That's why I'm saying, like, most people, if you're not in denial, your eyes can tell the difference. Your eyes can tell the difference. Your eyes can tell. You see that there's something that's different. You can tell. You can tell. Even the ones that get a good makeup job and all that stuff, you can't change the body structure, the way the person moves. XYs are going to be faster. The body shape is going to be different. This is something that cannot be changed or disguised. What's going on? Lavonda Riggin says, based on all the info, including videos provided from the beginning, this case should have been settled and all parties in jail. God knows what happened, and they will get justice if man fails to do so. Yeah. What's up, Patty Lott? Patty Lott says, good evening, Natural Beauty Investigator. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We doing our little investigation here by analyzing the facts. Simply analyzing the facts, right? We're analyzing the facts here. All right, so let's keep it going. Keeping it going here. I did that one already. I think I just did that. Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna do one more little quick one, then we're gonna read that document. We're gonna slow it down and read the document that came out months later. I think this might be. Okay, so this here is a new 7 months ago, but this is them saying afterwards that they're not gonna pursue any justice. All right, new autopsy shows Shanquella Robinson's spine was intact. All right, so here we go. I can't believe that they actually lied and said this was April 13th of 23.
Department of Justice will not pursue criminal charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson. WBTV first broke that news to you just yesterday.
And now we're digging deeper into the documents that outline how prosecutors came to that decision. Mary Calkins is live this morning. And Mary, much of that is because of these two conflicting autopsy reports, right?
So why did they not speak about the death certificate? Right? We saw these last videos that they were showing coming out back in November with the death certificate. Now, months later, an autopsy shows Shanquella's spine was intact.
That's exactly right, Kristen. We now have the results of Shanquella's autopsy done here in Mecklenburg County, which contradicts claims.
Why was an autopsy done? The death certificate already listed the cause of death. There was no question. The family, nobody questioned the cause of death. So what would be the need to perform an autopsy? Unless they wanted to put a lie out to explain why they weren't going to do anything.
Claims made by Mexican authorities in a partial autopsy of her body done the day following her death in Mexico. Now,
and why would Mexico do an autopsy the day following, right? Autopsy is extra. It's something that has to be paid for. It's not mandatory. Now, a coroner's report, the death certificate is mandatory because a person's death has to be official. It has to be documented, has to be official. The same way if you were born, you're supposed to have a birth certificate to make your birth official. Has to be reported and documented. It's the only official document that proves your birth. The death certificate is the only official document that proves your death. The death certificate did not state that they could not determine a cause of death. Not only did they determine a cause of death, they determined how long after receiving that injury a person could maintain life. 15 minutes. Now these people want to come up with these lies.
that local autopsy released Wednesday has a critical difference than that done in Mexico. The Mexican autopsy said Robinson died from a broken neck. Shanquella's Mexican death certificate finalized a week after her.
Now, see how she switched the words up? First she said autopsy, then she goes her Mexican death certificate, right? It's switching up the wordplay so people can go around and get distracted. Stay focused on the facts. Don't let them distract you.
Death says her cause of death was a severe spinal cord injury. But that new autopsy done here in Mecklenburg County says her spine was completely intact and concludes an undetermined cause of death. The DOJ says because of the findings from the local medical examiner, federal prosecutors would not file charges in Robinson's death. The Robinsons' family attorney pushed back on the decision not to press charges in a press conference yesterday.
Because it cannot be that someone can go overseas and commit a crime against a U.S. citizen and come back and not be affected in any way.
Now, the Robinson family says they are considering civil charges against the people that Shanquella traveled to Cabo, Mexico with, who the family says they believe are ultimately responsible for her death. Reporting live in Charlotte, Mary Calkins, WBT.
So Patty Lott says maybe they gave her fake friends time to get out of town. Think about it. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why Mexico didn't say anything until the story was broken. We just saw the one video with the real Mexican reporter, the real Cabo reporter, who says that until he asked, they didn't have a report. They made the report after the news inquired about it. And that's why the stories don't match up or make sense, because if there was a doctor there, why was the police involved if there was no signs of foul play? There's never a time that a doctor is going to spend 3 hours on a house call. Never. There's never a time that a doctor is going to do all these things. We're going to go on and read this here document so we can spit these bones out again. Spit these bones out. And do that. Let's see. We're gonna spit these bones out here. Yes, I believe you, Patty. What's up, Trisha? Trisha Doll says, They don't have U.S. standards. Nobody could sue anyway. Yeah. All right, so let me see here. Where did I put that? God damn it. Should have kept it up here. All right, so while I'm looking here, I'm gonna play this here, play a video for y'all. Let's see here. Uh-oh, that's me. Go back. All right, so I gotta find the document. For y'all to but I want to show y'all something too real quick, because I know we talk about I've been trying to encourage us to vote, and one of the reasons why I believe that we're not getting justice for Shanquella is because of the current administration, who is showing favor for these here folks here. Let's see here. Oh, I said I wanted to do the difference between the autopsy and the death certificate. So while I'm looking, let me play this real quick. Give me, buy myself a little time here. Let's see here. Where did I go? All right, so let's see. I'm just going to play this real quick. This will buy me a wee bit of time here. All right, so let's see here. This here is about the arrest warrant. Oops. I think I already played this one. Never mind. I must have that on a different document too. All right, let's see here. What's up, Karen? Karen says Cabo 6 are the one cleaning up the crime scene before they lied to Mexican authorities. I still don't believe the maid was there by making up the story. It's because they Googled it. Well, let's see here. This must be here. I just had it. All right, so let's see here. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna play this real quick while I find that document.
Shanquella Robinson, who died in Mexico last year. The 25-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, died on October 29th. Her death certificate listed the cause of death as a spinal and neck injury. A video posted online after her passing showed Robinson in a violent altercation with another woman. We're joined now by Salamondra Robinson, the mother of Shanquella Robinson. Salamondra, first of all, we're so sorry for your loss. What does it mean for your family to hear that federal charges will not be pursued?
We was very disappointed.
I'm sure. Were you surprised?
No, but I was disappointed because the simple fact is that they had enough evidence due to the video that was online, and they said it wasn't enough evidence, but I don't believe. And then they said that they don't know what was the cause of her death, but the cause of her death was due to the fight, from what we could see.
Wow. Now notice how they didn't just gaslit the mother so much that even now she's calling it a fight. And you can hear the, uncertainty in her voice because, she probably can't believe too, like, what? How could you not see this and know, and say that you can't determine a cause of death? It matches with what the death certificate states. All right, so I did find them. I'm going to let her finish this stuff.
And she said she didn't have a broken neck, and she also died from the swelling on the brain, but she also was beaten. So you can give me I feel that someone should have been arrested due to that, but they trying to say that it didn't. So I might have to have her body exhumed because we need another autopsy.
Wow.
Now, see, they got her confused because there's no need for no other autopsy. The death certificate, y'all got the death certificate. That's the only official document. And shame on those attorneys for not letting them know that the death certificate is the only official document. How dare them take these people through this runaround? This doesn't make any sense. This is in woo.
And I'm sure all of this being said by a mom, these are just unimaginable things to be discussing about your daughter. Where does your fight for justice go at this point?
We're gonna keep going. We will be in Washington on May the 19th.
And your lawyer has criticized the lack of urgency from U.S. authorities in this case. What do you feel should have been done differently?
I feel that they should have took this case and took it serious when it first happened. They didn't step up to the plate and do what they needed to do from the very beginning. They said it was out of their hands, but it looked like to me they didn't try to do anything.
Okay, so if they said it was out of their hands when they first talked to them, why should we believe that they did an autopsy the day after her body was, the day after they, took the case on? If they just took the case on the 18th and the funeral was on the 19th, it is highly unlikely that they did an autopsy. They said it was out of their jurisdiction. Why are they wasting resources or using resources for an autopsy on a case that they didn't really want to have nothing to do with? They lying.
And they really failed my family.
They sure
as being the FBI and the government here, we has really been failed, because my daughter didn't deserve to die like that.
No,
and brother was in Mexico or wherever it was. And they need to make a law, let people know that you can't go out of town and do nothing to someone and come back and think that you's okay with it. There was a video, everybody seen the video. So there should have been some charges should have been made. And I'm talking about here in the United States.
Exactly.
We're focusing on the legal process and moving forward. But just for a moment before we go, can you describe what this has been like to go through as a family?
It's been a nightmare. The whole 5 months ain't been nothing but a nightmare to me.
All right, so that's 5 months there. All right, so I'm gonna stop that there. All right, so I found the document, y'all. I'm gonna go do it. They just showed a little bit of it too here. All right. Let me see what yeah, here we go. All right, so get y'all a little stretch break and some water, maybe a little bit popcorn here. Let's see here. I hear you on that, Karen. Karen says, Doctor ain't stupid. She knew Shanquella was already gone before she arrived. Yeah, I don't believe no doctor ever arrived there. A doctor would not have put their license on the line for this baloney. That's why you didn't hear nothing else about them accusing the doctor of being there. There's no way a doctor is going to be hanging out for 3 hours. You know how many patients they could have seen in 3 hours? Multiples. You see, Karen said, the reason why is because nobody even smelled Shanquella if she was drinking. I really don't believe she is drunk. It's because she was walking naturally in the room before she was brutally attacked. Exactly. There was no indication that she was intoxicated or altered in any way. Before the attack happens, we see Shanquella standing erect, with no indications that she was altered in any way. Yes. Tina says they waited 3 weeks before they started an investigation. That's why no justice has been served, because the crime scene had already been cleaned up. Now it is so unreal. Yeah, I feel you on that. I totally feel you on that. All right, so here we go with the document that came out. Let's see, came out in March. Here's the letter from Shanquella's lawyers. Here it's from Benjamin L. Crump and Sue Ann Robinson, Esquire, right? Dated March 13th, right? So here's some here's some blah 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 stuff on here. Then this is their evidence and their proof and stuff like that. All right. So we just gonna read through it and then go through what Mexico said. And then from the videos that we saw that came out November, the 17th, the 18th, and the 20th, all that stuff. Here is stuff. Look at these dates. All right. So on March 13th, they saying, Dear President Biden and Secretary Blinken, on behalf of the family of Shanquella Robinson, we write to request immediate diplomatic intervention from the United States government in this transnational criminal case. The case involves the death of Shanquella Robinson, a 25-year-old ambitious, bright entrepreneur and American citizen. Shanquella traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico on October 28, 2022, and was reported dead in a luxury villa in Cabo on October 29th. Her 6 travel mates returned to the United States the next day. 3 of the 6 travel mates, Winter Donovan, Kali Cook, and Dejanay Jackson, would transport Shanquella's luggage from Mexico to her mother's home in Charlotte, North Carolina. They would give their condolences and inform Mrs. Robinson that Shanquella passed away from alcohol poisoning. Okay, now, this really, I don't care. This just seems a bit wordy and okay, I'm gonna keep going. On November 16th, 2022, one of the travel mates shared video from a cell phone camera around the campus of Winston-Salem University. Wow. The college that Shanquella Robinson attended. The video shows Shanquella being beaten in the villa, naked by one of the one of the 6 travel mates, who was identified by a witness as Dejanay Jackson. An autopsy report prepared on October 30th, 2022 in Mexico by medical examiner Dr. Renee Alberta Galvin Osigura noted that Shanquella's body had a head injury and concluded that Shanquella's cause of death was a broken neck. I wish I had the death certificate to put up here so we can see what date the death certificate was done on. Because she talking about here the autopsy. After the video of the beating of Shanquella Robinson surfaced online, the Attorney General Office of Baja California Sur initiated a criminal investigation. As a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejanay Jackson by Mexican law enforcement. Okay, so here's our first time having a name to the arrest warrant, right? So March 13th, the attorneys named the name on the warrant, because before then they just kept saying one of the travel mates has an arrest warrant. They never named the name, but here she is stating, or they are stating, that the name on the arrest warrant is Dejanay Jackson by Mexican law enforcement. Now, if this autopsy was done on the 30th of October, the day after Shanquella was deleted, why did it take Mexico more than 2 weeks to announce that they were investigating it? If the autopsy showed that there was a broken neck. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. If they did the autopsy on the 30th and it showed a broken neck, why did Mexico not put out the arrest warrant or, say that they were investigating until the middle of November? That's how you can tell that that's a lie. This is a lie. A lie. A lie. A straight up lie. They knew on the 30th. Right? One of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was pronounced dead. Miss Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. Now, all this to me, sorry, but it sounds like story because this is a lot of information, right? You're writing all of this. You're explaining what the femicide is. I don't know, y'all. This, taking a look at it, months later with, new eyes, this sounds like a shepherd trying to lead the sheep. If a United States citizen commits homicide in Mexico and returns back to the United States, as you are aware, they can face criminal charges in the United States under federal law or state law, depending on the circumstances of the crime. Federal charges are brought in cases where the crimes involve interstate commerce or federal law enforcement agencies. We know in a transnational case where evidence was possibly transported and persons of interest communicated with each other via cell phone, federal charges could be brought against those responsible for Shanquella's death. Under federal law, the most likely charge that could be brought against someone primarily responsible would be a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1112, which covers manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. If the individual actions meet the circumstances of murder under federal law, they could also be charged with violation 18 U.S.C. 1111. Federal charges could be brought against co-conspirators to a homicide, include conspiracy to commit murder, aiding and abetting, accessory after the fact, and obstruction of justice. As you are also, of course, aware, transnational crime cases can be complex and challenging to resolve, especially when they involve individuals and entities in different countries. We understand each country has sovereignty over its own citizens and that each country has its own legal system which can create issues. We also understand there is a protocol for the resolution of transnational crimes. Despite reaching out to consular authorities who are tasked with being the family's guide and liaisons in cases such as this, we have encountered numerous obstacles in our efforts to receive information for the family on whether those responsible would ever be brought to justice. While on a fact-finding mission on behalf of the family, attorney Sue Ann Robinson was advised by a member of the United States Consular Corps in Mexico that if the family was seeking information about the case, perhaps the family should reach out to the at-large travel mates. Certainly, this is unacceptable. This is an unacceptable response to share with an American family in regards to their daughter's murder. This smells fishy. Given the nature and scope of this case, we believe that diplomatic intervention from U.S. government could help facilitate the necessary cooperation and coordination between the involved parties to ensure that justice is served timely, that the accused are tried under the appropriate legal systems, that extradition is possible, and that the international cooperation is fostered. The United States can follow the extradition protocol and turn over the individuals or individuals responsible for Shanquella's death to Mexican authorities. Alternatively, U.S. federal law enforcement agencies can request concurrent jurisdiction with Mexican law enforcement agencies, which would permit U.S. prosecutors to bring the case to the United States as the involved parties are U.S. citizens. We have just witnessed what a swift concurrent response from Mexico and U.S. law enforcement agencies look like in the kidnapping case of the group of U.S. citizens at Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. Both scenarios we were requesting on behalf of Shanquella Robinson's family require high level of swift diplomatic intervention. My clients recognize that the U.S. government U.S. government has many priorities and responsibilities, but believe that the intervening in this case would not only serve the interest of justice, but also send a clear message that transnational criminal activities will not be tolerated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. All right, so then the sign there. Then here, they're presenting this that we had already saw and viewed back in November with the names of the people that was there at the villa. And then here's this. All right, so here this document is supposed to be from Mexico. This is the interview report. The first thing that I noticed today is that there is no official seal. It says official seal, but there is nothing there. No official seal. Where is the official seal? All right, so apparently this is from, Yeah, I'll just squint. All right, so this here case minus an official seal. Here's a reference number, and it's from Baja California, sir. City, municipality, delegations, locality of San Jose del Cabo. The date of this document is 11/19/2022 at 1400. So 2 p.m. on November the 19th, 2022. Now, this incident supposedly took place on the 29th of October. So 21 days later, that's 3 weeks, they produced this document. This interview was performed 3 weeks later, right? 3 weeks later, here's an interview that wasn't posted or shared with us for, let's see, so it came out in March. That wasn't shared or made public 4 months later. So 3 weeks before the interview, and then 4 months later, now we release it. More bones. Who does that? Why would they wait to put this information out there? Why would they wait if they did this autopsy on October 30th? Why didn't the questions come out, this interview take place until 11/19? Okay, so it says here 11/19 at 1400, they did this here interview with information about the interviewer is Santiago Miguel Mariquin Gonzalez, who is team chief. Assignment homicide unit. So on the 19th of November, 3 weeks after the homicide, is when they decided they were going to do an interview, right? 3 weeks later. All right. So here it is that Guadalajara is the manager. And right, so here's the interview there, age 39. All right, so the other thing that stands out, again, the official seal is missing, and this interview is in English, right? And it says down here, this is a translation with no official document, but here is, where's the official one at, right? It says, I am the administrator of the Villa Casa Linda, number 32, Colonial La Playa Residential, Puerto Los Cabos, Francisco Mito Fondo Rosa Beach Club, Cali Pedro Quino Esquino Pedro Gualian in San Jose del Cabo, Baja California, sir, where I have worked for more than a year and a half. Okay, so again, how is this part of an interview? This details already here, all this much detail. Once I observed on my cell phone the video circulated in social network where two of the guests who had registered in the villa appear, where one of them dressed in pajamas with shorts and blouse, possible color pink. Look at all these descriptions. How you can tell when somebody lying. All these descriptions. Possible color pink, white with black and light colored cap, right? Appears hitting another female person, right? So if this was considered a homicide back in November the 30th, why did it take them 3 weeks to interview? And why are they stating that they didn't say anything until after they saw the video? This is already, we can throw this out. This is full of lies. This doesn't add up. There's no way that if this was already deemed a homicide, did they wait 3 weeks to question individuals? All right, so here we go with the dry bologna sandwich. Somebody get me some mayonnaise. All right, here we go. Dry bologna sandwich here. All right, so they just described Dejanay in the video. Said hitting other person in the person named Dejanay Jackson, who identified because I served as a translator on the day of the events. So if they served as translator on the day of the event, why are they only saying this now, 3 weeks later? 3 weeks later after seeing this video. In the video, it can be seen that the headboard is illuminated. Here we go with the details. Why are they saying all this? They're saying all this because social media, YouTube content creators had highlighted that this attack was performed in the morning time. So now they're using our words that they've already heard. That's why they're saying this now to paint the picture, to connect with the truth so they can slide in the lie, but have part of the truth here. Because why would anybody say all this stuff? If you're giving your interview, why would you say all this stuff about a headboard is illuminated in the sun? And this is but BS. Why would you find it necessary to say this? Nobody asked the time. So why is this person leading this interview with, in the video, it can be seen that the headboard is illuminated by the sun rays, and due to the location of the sun rays, it can deduce that it is between 7 and 8:30. (7 and 8:30 a.m.) since the bedroom 1 and 3 are waterfront, and it is easy to deduce. They got that from John. You could totally tell. It is easy to deduce the morning schedule since the sun rises on the seaside, illuminating those rooms. Who says all that? Why? Why are they saying that? Why? Like, why is that necessary to say? Why would that come to mind to say that it's the morning time? Why? BS. BS. The seaside illuminating those rooms. That is the room number 3, because that is the only one that has a hammock outside of it, and the hammock can be seen in the video. Also, after 10 a.m., the sun rays begin to reflect towards the floor of the bedroom, since there are some pergolas on the outside of the room. Now, why is this something that they have noticed back in November? Because we didn't start talking about that until probably December, right? When we start doing more of our investigation and stuff. So, and when the time came in question, why is it being stated here? Why are they painting a picture? Why are they setting the stage, right? Because that's what lies need. Lies need a quick, not a summary, but an introduction, right? To get you prepared for the story. What they call it? I can't think of the name. But anyway, not the summary, but the narration. They give you, set the scene. They give you the footnotes here, tell you what's who. It says, I can also say that in that villa, both at sunrise and sunset are very annoying. For that reason, the owner decided to place wood on the windows to prevent the sun rays from entering. I know this because I am the administrator of the villa, and on many occasions I have been in the room at that time of the morning. Finally, I wish to state that the villa was reserved for October 28th to October 31st, 2022. That's all I wish to state. What does this have to do with what happened? Why did we waste all of this time with these details? Why? 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 Unless you are trying to cover up or tell a lie. This here is all right. So here we go. Keep on going down here. It says interview transcript. All right. So some more interview here. This one was actually on the 17th of November. Okay, let's check these dates too to see if this was on a weekend or not. Let's see here. November 22. Uh-oh. All right, November 22 on the okay, so the 17th is actually a Thursday, but this is actually a Saturday. Wow. So on the Saturday, they working extra overtime on the Saturday to do this here interview that was already 3 weeks late. So they did it on this here Saturday. Yeah, right. All right. So come on, y'all. This is baloney. Baloney. All right. So here's another person on baloney here. This here is another person. It says he's is part of the specialized unit for the investigation of miscellaneous crimes and its jurisdiction. What kind of a title is that? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Criminal Justice Center located, it tells the location there. All right, so this person says, this is my statement given to the investigation agent, Sony Hugh Jacel Papico Millennium, in reference to the facts that are being investigated today for informing me the reason for my presence in the interview. I have been employed by blank or Cabo Villa in the United States, where I work as concierge in attention and customer service. I provide service assistance with doubts, any service that is needed, for approximately 3.5 years. Like, this whole thing doesn't make sense. What does that mean? You provide service assistance with doubts. What does that mean? On October 28th, 2022, I had been informed of the arrival of some guests of the Villa Casalinda 32, which is located in Pedro, Quino, Porto, Fondres, Porto, Los Cabos, San Jose del Cabo, and Cali Pedro Gilead. The day before I was sent to work schedule. So why is all of this backstory required? Why aren't they giving account of the actual incident? And how was they there? Okay. All right, so let me just come on down. We're about to get to the verify the facts that from that first video that we just saw. Right. So it says here, I worked as concierge. Okay. On October 28, 2022, I had been informed of an arrival of some guests to the Villa Casalinda, okay, I already said that. The day before, I was sent the work schedule of the villa that we are to take care of as concierge. So I knew that the guests of the Casalinda Villa would arrive around 3 p.m. on October 28th, 2022. The main client was Dejanay Jackson with telephone number who contacted me around noon by text message to report that her flight had been delayed due to the weather and that she would be telling me her new arrival time, confirming me it would be at 17:19 p.m. Okay, so first discrepancy is the mixing of military time with the standard time here. So it says around 3 p.m. and then it jumps down here to say 17:19. If someone is documenting here, you would not go between the times like that. This is just bones that they're splashing off into this to keep you confused, right? 17:19 is 5:20 p.m. Then she asked me if after arriving and taking the transportation, she could stop to do some shopping, to which I responded, there is no problem. Again, all of this fluff story here is not necessary. Why is this being stated here, right? If they're not trying to paint a picture, this is what? Why? Right? This is how you can tell you're being herded here, right? They're trying to paint a picture. Then she told me that she would be letting me know the time they were going to arrive. She texted me when they left the shopping center. She arrived at the Casalinda Villa around 2000 hours. I had, again, here we go with the times playing around here. I had arrived at the villa about 15 minutes before, and upon entering, I see persons of slim build, Afro-American, about 1.75 meters tall, about 25 to 30 years old, to whom I introduced myself. Since he asked me who I was, I told him I am his concierge and that I will be supporting his vacation in everything he needs. Also at the villa were Chef Blank and Waiter Blank, who are employees of the company Blank and co-workers. Moments before, when I saw the guests, I was surprised since I wasn't aware that there were guests already at the villa, to which the chef told me. Okay, so here we go again. This is all staging the scene. Like they're trying to paint the picture here of the story. They're trying to throw in the story that two people, a couple, had arrived at the villa. Like, why is somebody talking about this? Why is this pertinent? Why would he call them a couple? How did you know that they were a couple? Right? How'd you know this was a couple? How you know they weren't friends? What told you? Who told you that this was a couple? A few hours before. However, I only saw the male guest described above. So then, how are you saying here that there was a couple if you only saw the male guest? These are lies. I prepared my registration sheet, the information I have to provide to the client, guacamole, tortilla chips, margaritas, and I waited for the main client who arrived almost immediately in Tres Cabo transportation. They got off with their groceries, bottles of alcohol and tequila, put down their suitcases, started taking pictures of the villa. They looked excited. Again, this is fake. This is story. This is story. Story, 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 story. All right? This is story. Okay, so there's more story up here, but I want to come down quick because I've done this before. I read through all this stuff, right? All this is baloney. To this here attorney general, supposedly forensic. This is supposed to be the autopsy here. I'm going to point out a few of these dates here so we can show again this is fake. All right, so they're saying that they did the autopsy on October the 30th, right? And look at all this information. When we saw how simple the death certificate was, I'm going to take a break on this. I'm getting stuffy. All right, let's get back over here. Read some more of these comments. Karen says, that isn't the first time Cabo 6 did that crime. Yeah, it seemed pretty, routine, huh? Which I think so too. Ernie Williams says, just for Shanquella. What's up, Regiment 65? The reporter still ain't heard back yet a year later. I agree. Lavonda Riggins said, fact 1, Robinson is dead. 2, a video of being beaten is available and all her party was present. Yes. 3, why alcohol lie? 4, death certificate can be verified by funeral home. Yes. So why case is pending? Exactly. Just like President Trump said, the Department of Justice is corrupt. It's corrupt. We saw that with the video when they were saying, "Oh, we don't see anything here. We can't opine to what happened." Baloney, right? So the whole department is corrupt. That's why I'm saying we need to get the current administration out here so we can get some justice, some real justice, some people that's trying to do the right thing. Tina says, RN, they got it in and out too fast. Yeah, they planned it because it was done too smooth. Yep. They had help getting out of Mexico. Yes. These concierge, these people over here, okay, I don't even know how to make it. Anyway, these people are in on it. That's why they're trying to throw them under the bus now. To try to clean their hands because they let them leave. They let them leave. So that's the help that they had. That's the help that they had because if they determined that it was a crime scene, if they determined that it was homicide the same night they taken her body to get autopsy, give me a break. Why would they let them leave? Right? And why did in the beginning they report that there was no evidence of foul play? Yeah. Lavonda said the death certificate should represent final findings of autopsy, which also include other lab results. I agree. Karen says the autopsy is only partial, not fully. Shanquella's mom said no third autopsy. Hairston Funeral Home in North Carolina aren't fully autopsy either, but cover up and missing details from the document. All right. Okay, so I know what I want to show too. This here certification from the fake justice in South Carolina. Ooh, I'm getting tired. All right, I'm gonna read a few more of these and then I'm gonna call it a night. See here. The funeral home are Sandra Hairston from, yes, that's where I saw that name from. On okay, so clues. They're the ones that signed off on, this here. Yeah. The funeral home are Sandra Hairston from DOJ are related to one of Cabo 6. Khalid's grandma. That is why it said Harrison Funeral Home in North Carolina that does autopsy in North Carolina. Yeah. I just looked at it earlier today and it didn't have a signature on it either. Where did I do that at? All right. I'm gonna take a little time to find that, but while I'm looking, I'm gonna play the video. Is this it? No, that ain't it. Shoot. Yeah, I just saw it. That's the name I saw. Yeah. Wait a minute. Was that? Yeah, that's it. She's supposed to be Department of Justice, who said that they, there's nothing that they could do. But like I said, there was no signature on it. It just was a statement. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So while I'm looking, I'm just gonna go on and play a little something. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Let's see here. All right, I'm getting worn out here. All right, so while I'm look at that, I'm going. Let's see here. All right, so while I'm looking for that, let's just promote some stuff here for Trump make America great again. Not that. All right. So anyway, I'm running out of steam, y'all. I'm gonna call it a night. I mean, just Hey, I got some greetings down here for some folks. What's up, PM channel in the hizzy? Says salute all around at your beauty. All right, good to see you. And I'm sure that's a fancy something there emoji that I can't see. All right, let's see here. I want to finish reading the rest of it. Oh, where did I leave off at? See, Karen said lies and cover up. Not only her, but Dina King from DOJ also related to. Wow. Yeah, that's why, we'll have to come back to. Yeah, these are all clues, y'all, because they were the ones that shut everything down. And, wow. Yeah, this is a serious cover up. It says Dina King from DOJ also related to Elise's mom. They are the ones said that there's no charge filed against Cabo 6 is cause not enough evidence, which was a lie. Yes. All right, Karen says, but their video too. What's up, Shelly? Charlie, is that right? Salute, Natural Beauty. What's up, salute? Let's see. Karen says the only thing that I believe that Shanquella has a broken neck is because the attacker hit her back really, really hard before her body was thrown on the floor. That messed up her butt all the way. Yes. And when you see her on the floor, you can see that her head is not in alignment. It's knocked off of the axis. That's also seen. And two, if she was would have been knocked out, why didn't she fall over if she wasn't paralyzed? If she wasn't paralyzed, she would have slumped over. But she couldn't slump over because her body was in paralysis. And like I said, I had a lot of experience working with quadriplegics, either people that are paralyzed from the neck down, that had that type of injury. And one of the remarkable things was the way that they would just be positioned like stuffed animals, like mannequins, like that. You sat them up, they just would sit, and you could see the paralysis on her body when it happened. Karen says Nazir is still lying, and he is there on the 28th and 29th. Look at the Bible. He held it upside down, that telling us that he was lying along with his blood. Yes. I know. And I need to go back through these videos because I did react to the video of him with those lies and stuff. What's up, Jimmy Davis? Grand Rising. What's up, Jimmy Davis? Thank you for showing up here. All right. Jimmy Davis says, just for Shanquella. Yes. All right. Here, I've come to the end here. What's up, Miss Sunny Florida? They are now low-hanging fruit. Yes. I agree. So I'm grateful that we're not going to let this go. And I really do believe that once one of the reasons why we're not seeing any justice is because of all of the people that's on the higher level that's connected here, and the current administration is okay with this type of treatment. So that's why we need to make sure that we have a voice in that. We doing something here. So again, we're praying for the USA. We're praying for the people, praying and continuing to seek justice for Shanquella Robinson. So we won't be silent. I will not be silent. I'm going to keep on spreading the facts and repeating the facts and sticking to the facts and sharing the facts and keep bringing them back to the facts. I mean, when they come up with these new bologna sandwiches, we just go back to, but what about here, right? What about this death certificate, the only official document that can that declares the death of a person, and all that good stuff. All right, so I love y'all, and thank you so much, everybody who has been participating and keeping justice for Shanquella alive and all that good stuff. All right, see y'all soon, and we're going to talk more too about just abuse and stuff like that too, because all these things tie together, and that is the theme over here, that we standing up for victims of all ages and all genders to overcome the fear of the abuse to become survivors, because there are some men out there who are also victims too. So we can't just say that it's only the women, because there are some women out there who are abusers and that need to be stopped too. So victims can come in all ages and genders, not just women, because some women are wicked too, right? Just like some men are good. Not all. No, I was joking. But victims are, it's not gender specific, right? There are some wicked men as well as wicked women, right? So love and peace. And I didn't forgot to greet the Facebook people too. I was live on Facebook, and thank y'all too. If anybody was, I didn't pay y'all no attention. I'm gonna do better, stuff like that. I'm a work in progress. Charge it to my heart. Love y'all. See y'all soon. Peace.